Hello. So I thought I'd try making a little video, have a little preview of, not preview, review of what happened in 29. And then I mainly wanted to talk about the assistant manager. I think in this video I've been geeking out, made a new spreadsheet. So I just wanted to talk about that. And then maybe a little bit of thoughts about chip strategy, where I'm at. Probably most of that will come next week if I can get around to it. But game week 29, I got smashed. 29 points I got, massive red arrow, biggest red arrow of the season so far. Went from 14k to 34k, man. So that was a bit of a weird one as well, because I was anticipating a red arrow. I was more worried about Haaland and Kluivert, and I thought I just decided not to go after him. And I was kind of quietly pleased about my decision making going into it, because I just didn't quite fancy it. I thought Kluivert could be a problem in the next game week. Haaland's cost a lot of money. I just didn't really fancy it, and I kind of didn't get too punished by those two. And so that after that, I thought I've probably done all right. But then it was Bruno just like crept up on the final game week, 60%, 17 points, and just smashed me another 10 points, and that was the one that really knocked me back. And yeah, wasn't anticipating that at all. So that was a bummer. And then none of my players really did much at all. That was a shame. I came very close to bringing in Milenkovic. Had two transfers. I think the first one was always going to be Trent to Aït-Nouri. But the second one I was debating was Lewis to Milenkovic. And I don't think I regret it. I think the decision making again was all right, because I just thought it's only going to be for one game week, because the next game week I'm going to bench. If I bring Milenkovic in, I'm probably going to bench him next game week anyway. So it's one game week is all I'm going to use him for. I might even wildcard 30. And I thought all it's going to take is one Ipswich goal, which I thought could easily happen, and a Lewis start. If Lewis starts, all of a sudden that's going to be quite a bad transfer. And I kind of had a feeling Lewis would start, and he did. And I had a feeling Ipswich would score, and they did. But I just didn't. It's just bad luck, I think, that Milenkovic happened to get a goal and an assist. And his assist was like a goalkeeper lob, wasn't it? Just right, launched it up front. So, yeah, so I think that's just unlucky. Yep. And so, yeah, I've got Wallach, though. I don't feel too bad about it. I mean, it is a bit annoying. If I look at this kind of like, I've had so much luck this season, I can't really complain. But it has been annoying since about here, game week 20 is just, I don't feel like this graph shows it. I feel as though it's been like I've been on the wrong side of 50-50 since game week 20. There was Mbommo and then Mateta, then selling Chris Wood to Gakpo. Wood gets his hat-trick, Gakpo gets injured. There was other players, I can't remember them all now, but they're like Watkins I missed out on, a couple of others, captaincy shouts. And then this game week was like Milenkovic was one of them. Yeah. And then, yeah, none of my players coming through. Rao is back on the troll list. Sorry. I would have forgiven him if he got me something, but he is back on the troll list, and I'll be selling him next game week, I should think. Probably for Mateta. Anyway, yeah, so it's a bummer. I got all the way up to 3k at one point, top 3k, and then all the way back down to 34. It's not really what you want. But I guess that this yellow line is a sign that I'm not really doing much wrong. In fact, if anything, I've been playing better. If I can take that line as a sign that that's what's going on. So, yeah. So I guess it's just variance. I guess don't know. So that's a pain. But that's 29. We'll keep cracking on next game week. See where we're at. I'll talk about chip strategy and stuff. I'll try and make a video next game week. I hear people talking about taking the next 2 weeks off, and I feel like I've got so much I want to do. I haven't got enough time to look into it all. One of the things I wanted to look at was the assistant manager stuff, so I've done that. So I'm going to have a look into that today. But the chip strategy stuff, I really want to just try and solve the whole thing, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'd love to be able to just solve. Yeah, I think I need a solver to be able to figure out or get some kind of try to figure out what's the best route through with all your chips and stuff. How do you even begin to try and figure that one out, work it out, and add it up and quantify it? I think the best way I can do it, the only way I think I'm going to do it is just go through with the transfer planner and just go through each plan and then figure out and try and kind of put numbers on it and compare them all once I've finished. So that's what I want to try and do. I did that a couple of seasons ago and it come out quite nice. Because the problem is I could get into kind of solvers in Excel. You can get these open solvers, and I want to look into that as well. But the problem with solvers is that almost every time on my model, when I'm looking at like all these players and who to pick and stuff, my brain is constantly skipping. Oh, that one doesn't count, and that one doesn't count. Like the model is picking all these players, saying, "What about this guy? What about this guy?" And my mind is overriding it all the time. And so if I use a solver to try and solve the route through, I'm not going to trust it. This is why I don't trust FPL review and stuff. It keeps suggesting all these random picks, and my mind is like, well, that's a rubbish pick, and that's a rubbish idea. So I think I'm going to have to do it manually. Just look through the transfer plan and just look through manually all the different routes through. That's what I want to do. And the reason I want to do it is because I just think when these FA Cup games start playing on that Saturday afternoon, I think it's Fulham Palace. If Palace win or if Fulham win, all of a sudden people are going to be talking. I'm doing this now and I'm doing that, and this is what this means, this is what that means. And I want to be prepared beforehand. I want to have a kind of quantifiable sense of which path is the right path, and I want to have a feel for it. Because otherwise, if I don't have a proper feel for it, I might get swept up a bit, which I'm not usually in danger. I'm not usually in danger of that, but unless I don't have a good grasp of what I want to do first. So, people are going to be moving, and I want to kind of just try and get my own sense of what's the right thing there. So I want to look into chip strategy, but I haven't got the time at the moment either. I've got loads of stuff going on at the moment. So I might be able to start having a look at it next week. Just very busy at the moment. So chip strategy though. And so the biggest question though is like whether to free hit in 33 or 34. That's the big question. Free hit 33 or 34. If you free hit in 33, then you build your team out of the 34, the teams that play in 34, and you go right the way through and then just free hit in 33. And if you free hit in 34, you build your teams out of the players who are playing in 33, who are doubling in 33, and then you just free hit them out in 34. But there's two thoughts I have about that. One is 36 and 37. It just feels like it's going to be the same thing again. We're going to get into the same problem. It's just going to be another mini double and a mini blank, possibly. It might not happen, but I guess, do we just go through that with transfers then? Is it possible that I can get through this with a wild card, free hit 33, then wild card 35 or something? I'm trying to figure out if there's another way to solve this, because we've got two little kind of like of these turns where you get doubles followed by blanks, doubles followed by blanks. That's one of the things I'm thinking. And the other thing I'm thinking is that if you free hit in 33, or if you free hit in 34, whatever you do, I'm kind of thinking you don't necessarily have to build your team entirely out of the other side. So if you free hit in 33, you don't have to have 100% 34 players and just no 30. So no Man City, no Villa. I actually wonder a little bit whether I should actually ignore that, and cause like you could still get Haaland in your team even if you're free hitting in 33, even though it might seem like a waste to free hit in 33 if you're going to be, you're going to be free hitting them in anyway. I still wonder whether maybe not Haaland, I don't know, but I'm kind of trying to stay open to the possibility of having players who, if I free hit in 33, still having players who are doubling in 33 anyway, if they're good players, and if I want them in these surrounding game weeks as well, not being kind of swung by wanting to have this big swing of like, one or the other. So yeah, they're little things I'm thinking about. Again, I need to go through the transfer planner and actually really look at it all. And then the other question I'd be looking at is, how would things change if Crystal Palace win or if Fulham win? How would things change if Bournemouth win or Man City win? How would things change if Nottingham Forest win or Brighton win? I'm going to assume Villa's going to win. Because because it may just be single players. Like instead of going for Leno, I go for Henderson, or instead of Robinson, I go for Munoz or whatever. There might be these little switches that it's quite a simple thing to switch between one or the other. Yeah, I need to have a look at that. And yeah, I'm just kind of, a lot of people say, there's nothing we can know until the FA Cup, so just stop thinking about it, don't worry about it. But I feel like there are some things we can know. Like, and there are probably some things that we can deduce, like Man City, Aston Villa I feel like you could almost just lock that in now. That feels incredibly likely that that's going to be a double in 33. What are the chances of both Man City and Aston Villa getting knocked out of the FA Cup quarterfinals when Villa are playing Preston? Very slim. And then if that game's a blank in 34, it's almost certainly going in 33. It could potentially go in 37. But given what they did with Liverpool Villa earlier and Newcastle Crystal Palace, they didn't seem to want to use these. They wanted to save one of these free midweeks as a kind of emergency, as a kind of backup. So it still feels like, unless we're getting close enough to the end of the season that they don't mind using it now, but it's just, so likely it's going to go in 33. We've got this big free midweek in 33. It's going there. So there are some things you can kind of know, I think. Yeah. So that's what I want to look at. But I'll look at that. I'll try and look at that next week. Anyway, I'll timestamp this. So I wanted to have a look at the assistant manager. One of the things I really wanted to do with the assistant manager was try and figure out the chances that a team would be a table bonus fixture or not in future game weeks. And I thought I started doing all these kind of like spreadsheets, trying to do the maths, trying to work it out. And I ended up coming across this thing you can do with like simulations. You can run like thousands of simulations. It's a little bit like the solver aspect. You can run all these simulations, and then it will give you a percentage chance that it will be a table bonus. It's actually turned out to be a lot easier than I thought. There was a YouTube video I watched with a tutorial on it, so I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, so I've got the percentage chance that a team will be a table bonus now in every fixture. So that's really handy to know. I've already got the percentage chance that these fixtures will be go ahead or double and all that kind of stuff. We've got 11 FI's odds up to game week 35. Then I use my own model's odds going beyond that. And so we've got like predicted scores right from now to the end of the season for the assistant manager. So anybody that still has the assistant manager, you're probably wondering when to use it. And I think, well, if anybody out is, I think it's probably 31, 32, 30, 33. Pardon me. 31, 32, 33. If you're thinking of saving it till the end, basically, me looking at this, all it's done is kind of confirm to me that the best time to use it is 31, 32, 33, I think. Because towards the end, it's a little bit hairier. Doesn't look so good. So this is like this simplified into I've just got all the predicted points, multiplied it by the chance of it being table bonus and chance of the fixture actually going ahead and all that kind of stuff, incorporated it into it. And so the best game weeks that come out, the top 20 single game weeks at the moment, you got Palace in game week 32. So Man City versus Man City Newcastle double, both very likely to be table bonus games, and it's already guaranteed double. So Crystal Palace are very good. Man City as well. Man City 33, very likely to be a double, no table bonus. Things like this. Tottenham 33. Tottenham 33 is an interesting one because that is just a single game week against Nottingham Forest. But in game week 33, I don't know if anybody would go for that. But Nottingham Forest, 11 of 5's got them at 51% odds to win that, apparently. So that's probably why that's high. But it's only a single game week. But basically, you probably want to use it 31 to 33 is the best shout. if you don't want to change the manager in terms of rolling 3 game week periods without changing the manager, Crystal Palace again are top with 31 to 33, but they're also second at 30 to 32. So there's only 4 fixtures in that. But it's Southampton away, Brighton at home, then Man City, Newcastle double. 31 to 33, they may not have a double yet. That's not confirmed. But you could move the transfer, move the manager to a 33. Somebody who plays in 33. So how do I want to talk about this? Let's just have a look at it. I mean, if you're thinking of using it towards the end, one thing to think about is that you're going to have to move the manager probably, because whoever doubles in 36, if any team doubles in 36, it's very likely they're going to blank in 37. Apart from possibly Nottingham Forest, if their Brentford one goes in 36, they could have a Leicester at home, Brentford at home. I think it is Brentford at home, double there, and then go into West Ham away, Chelsea at home. None of them would be table bonus games. It's not great, but they're the only one possible, and I don't even know if that's likely anyway. So you're going to have to change your manager. If you want to try and save transfers, you're better off going for somebody here. Crystal Palace are the ones who stand out over here. And basically, if Palace beat Fulham in the FA Cup, then they're going to have 5 fixtures, and you can just stick it on Glasner the whole way through. And then on top of that, if Brighton beat Villa, I think, or basically if Brighton match Palace's result, then Brighton will, I think there'll still be a table bonus. That fixture will be a table bonus fixture for Palace. There's only 5 places between them at the moment, so it's kind of tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. But if that's a table bonus for Palace as well, then that's a great fixture. So you just stick it on Glasner. Easy peasy, right the way through there. Bournemouth won't be a table bonus, but Arsenal will there in 33. But if that doesn't happen, you've got other options like Villa against Nottingham Forest. A lot of the teams that play Nottingham Forest come out quite high as table bonus. There's one there as well. Tottenham against, that was the one I just mentioned. Tottenham against Nottingham Forest comes out high, but Villa in 31 against Nottingham Forest, 72% chance of being a table bonus fixture. It's pretty good. 48% win odds according to 11FI. That's really good. Stick it on Emery and then switch to one of Newcastle or Palace, whatever you fancy. Newcastle can't double in 33, so at least with Palace there's a chance they could double. But if they don't, then you're going to have to move managers anyway here as well. So maybe it won't matter whether you go 36 or 33 because you're still going to have to move managers anyway. I'm not sure what I've already used my assistant manager, so I'm not sure what people who haven't are thinking, how they're thinking about their wild card as well, when to use that. The big problem with using your assistant manager in like 31, 32, 33 is it's blocking triple captain and bench boost opportunities. One thing about Game Week 36 is that in terms of assistant manager and triple captain, is that the big question, the only real question you need to know in terms of triple captain, the only question you need to know is, are the blanks in 37 going to go into 36 or not, or are they going to stay in 37? And at the moment, I would say it's 55-45 likely, 55% likely it's going to go into 36, maybe 60-40, just because there are some scenarios where some of the fixtures have to go in 30. Well, that one, Aston Villa Tottenham, has to go in 36 in some scenarios. But basically, though, if that's the case, that's the only question you need to answer, because no matter which team reaches the FA Cup final, they're almost all the games will kind of result in some sort of decent triple captain opportunity. So whether it's Man City or Bournemouth reach the final, then you're going to have Haaland in a double with Southampton and Bournemouth there probably, which is very good. If Brighton reach the final, then that means Salah will get a double. It's Arsenal and Brighton, which is tricky, but predicted point scores will always predict that very highly, and so it's Salah doubles nice. if Nottingham Forest get to the final, they'll have Leicester at home and then West Ham away. So a Chris Wood triple captain could be nice there. Brentford, if Fulham get to the final, then Brentford and Mbomo would have Ipswich away, Fulham at home. That's a really nice one for Mbomo. So basically, like almost every team. What about Palace? Palace would have Wolves, so that would be Tottenham away, Wolves at home. So that's a good one for Mateta, maybe. Even Munoz, who knows? So almost every team there's a good triple captaincy shout. Aston Villa is probably the worst with Watkins. They'd have Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, but still not too bad. And you're going to have at least 2 Premier League teams probably in the final, so you'd probably going to have a choice of 2 of these triple captain shouts. So yeah, so that's the only question, because there's so many good options. The only question you need to know is, are the 37 blanks going to go in 36? And I'm still inclined to think they are, just because what's it there for? You got this big blank here right before, nice 3 midweeks right before the semi-final and the final. It just looks like that's what it's there for. But yeah, don't know though. Not certain. It could go in 37 midweeks of 37. And then it's the same with the assistant manager there as well. Like, there's going to be some good opportunities. There'll be some good doubles, I think. Maybe not quite as good like Nottingham Forest, where I like. No, was it Brentford? Brentford, Mbomo against Ipswich and Fulham feels quite good, but then from a assistant manager point of view, maybe that's not quite as good. Ipswich away, Fulham at home. You might prefer. I mean, Man City would be the best one. Just stick it on Pep, especially on 35. We've got Wolves at home, going into Southampton away, Bournemouth at home there. But then it would be a blank here. That would be a blank if it's a double there. So you'd have to move it in 37. But yeah, some of them, Nottingham Forest, Leicester at home, West Ham away. It's not too bad. It's quite a nice double that. Crystal Palace beforehand. Yeah, I had a couple of things I was going to say and I've forgotten. Starting in 34, I mean, some people might wonder if you can actually play in 34. I don't think there's many good options. I think Liverpool, what we got here, Liverpool and Newcastle are standing out as the top. So that is, Liverpool got Tottenham at home in 34. Newcastle got Ipswich at home in 34. So I suppose Brentford isn't too bad there. Brentford against Nottingham Forest away would be a table bonus game. Then they go into Man United home and then they might have a double there. Possibility. Yeah, there's some routes through. Damn, there was something I was about to say. Let me just have a little think. I think it was just that we got the same problem with the FA Cup final. These games here, you might get rotations. So using the triple captain in 36 might be tricky. If you're using it on a player like Mbomo, might be all right. Wood, could he be rotated? I don't know. Some of the players might see rotation before the FA Cup final here. Whereas assistant manager, that would be a benefit to using it there because you can avoid rotation. Although maybe teams will be weaker. But yeah, unless you put it on teams like Brentford, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose Brentford is fine, assistant manager or triple captain because they're not playing in the final. Yeah, so the opponents would be all right. So if Bournemouth get to the final, that would be good for Man City because Man City would get a double and they wouldn't be playing in the final. Bournemouth's double is Aston Villa at home and then Man City away, and they're probably not going to be table bonus, so it's not very good for them. So that is about that. And one other thing to think about as well. So if you look here, it's a lot of these results are kind of suggesting that there's more points to be had, 31 to 33. It's looking a little bit like there's lesser points here. But then that's partly because the probability of these doubles are still quite low at the moment. But if I just presume that every possible double that could happen just moves from 34 to 33, just stick all of the possible. This isn't obviously something that is actually possible, but let's just for experimentation's sake. You do get some slightly better doubles here. So, these are quite high scores now. A lot of these doubles, Liverpool, Forest, City. But still, even when I do that, most of the top scorers all come between 31 and 33-ish. First one's 34 to 36 in Liverpool there. Newcastle 32 to 34. That's including their double in 32, isn't it? And then there's a couple of Palace there, 34 to 36. Couple of 36s here. So I don't know. It's just a clue, maybe. It feels like there's bigger points to be had, 31 to 33, than there is towards the end of the season. Yep. And what was I going to say? One sec. Well, you might get teams on the beach as well. That's the other attraction to using assistant manager at the end, was like this idea that some teams will be on the beach. But I don't know if I see that many fixtures that stand out. Man City, Fulham. Fulham could be on the beach, but again, if Man City get the double there, you're going to have to switch away from Pep in 37 because he's not going to have a fixture, and then go back to him in 38. That doesn't really work. I don't know. There might be some of that. Anyway, I'm going to make this graph of this chart available on my Twitter, and I'll leave a link below if anybody wants to have a proper look at it. Try and find a route through. Yeah, and the big question you're probably wondering is, if you're going to assistant manager here, where do you bench boost and where do you triple captain? I'd imagine most people who still have the assistant manager have probably used their triple captain already. If not, you just triple captain in 36 probably. But if you still got the bench boost as well, if you don't have the triple captain, you just got the bench boost, then bench boost 36 is probably the way to go. And then I don't know what you do. I guess you could wildcard 30, and then assistant manager here. Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad because the free hit 33 here, I am feeling a little bit like I bet half of the players I pick aren't going to play in the second fixture anyway. It doesn't feel brilliant because they're all going to be wanting to rest before the FA Cup semi-final, I should think. Maybe. So, yeah, it's not too bad an idea to use the assistant manager, 31 to 33. You could wildcard 30. If your team's not looking too bad, you might be able to just use transfers and then wildcard 34 or wildcard 35. Free hit 34. You've probably still got a free hit as well, haven't you? So, yeah, it depends where you want to build towards. I don't know. I'm going to leave those kind of thoughts up to people who still have the assistant manager. I think it's tricky to get through all that. Anyway, that's about it, I think. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I might make another video next week. See if I can figure out the chip strategy stuff a bit better. Okay, that's enough waffling. See you later. Bye-bye.